One of my favorite things about young children is how blunt they can be. They are honest, often that they do not consider how their words or opinions may offend someone else. They just say what they feel in a simple manner. Adults, however, mask their thoughts with unnecessary details, much like the famous works of art in the 1800s. Henry Rousseau was critiqued for being too childlike. People said that his work was just nice to look at, but it was not real art. Since his style of painting was unique and naive, they did not fully grasp the meaning behind his artwork. Rousseau uses a simple color palette and shapes to emphasize the soldiers standing in the foreground in view of Ile de la Cite, Paris, to express his support of Dreyfus in the political havoc of 1890. The separation of the men from the city in the background portray his view that a man should not be convicted based on a nation's interest, for they are two entities. Henry Rousseau was a self-taught French painter in the late 1800s. Though he did not follow any artistic movements nor attend an art school, his work can be associated with post-impressionism. Artists in the 1880s sought independent artistic styles for expressing emotions instead of the popular optical impressions, and they concentrated on themes of symbols. They aimed to get away from the naturalism of Impressionism. Using simplified colors and definite forms, their art was characterized by a renewed aesthetic sense as well as abstract tendencies. However, there is no unifying characteristic form of this art, nor was this a formal movement or style. Aspects of view of Ile de Cite, Paris, including the bright orange sky, one-dimensional buildings, and minimal details of the city, attribute to post-impressionism. Paris was under a political scandal in 1890, the year Rousseau painted View of Ile de Cite, Paris. The moderate party was created in the city to compensate for the rise of socialism and its political ideas. The intellectual community's conflict over the Dreyfus affair, coupled with the presence of political turbulence, split the French people into two more parties. Captain Alfred Dreyfus, a French army officer with Jewish ancestry, was convicted of supposedly sending a letter to German authorities that contained French military secrets. It was determined that Dreyfus did not commit treason, but the significance of the affair remained within the French population. The intellectuals divided morally. Those who were in Dreyfus' camp believed in justice for every man and were termed Dreyfusards, and the anti-Dreyfusards believed in raison d'etat, in which the conviction was justified based on national interest. While politics and the intellectual aspects of Paris were disorderly, the art flourished. Rousseau used his striking painting to speak his stance on the Dreyfus affair. He claimed that he created a new genre of portrait landscape. He painted a chosen view of a city or a jungle, then people or figures in the foreground. In his painting Tiger in a Tropical Storm, he also adds significance to the figure in the front of the eye-catching scenery. Whether or not this method was of his invention, it places the soldiers in the focal point of the painting. The prominence of these men agree with the simplicity of the scenery in the background. Though the bright sky initially caught my attention, the lack of details in it and the city's buildings shifted my eyes towards the soldiers standing on the bridge away from the city. The separation of these men from the view coined the heart of Paris emphasizes that people and a city are two distinct beings. This painting, therefore, subtly expresses that Rousseau supports Captain Alfred Dreyfus and the Dreyfusards. When a soldier or military officer is accused of a crime, especially treason, it is viewed differently than if a civilian had been accused. Their job is to represent and fight for their country, so any wrong they do is brought to the spotlight. Rousseau's opinion is that Even though a man embodies a nation, he is still his own person. Though he wears a French uniform, he has his own mind and interests. It would not have been fair to prosecute him based on the suspicion or the relevance to France. By isolating the soldiers from Paris and the French flags on top of the buildings, Rousseau states that the conviction of a man should be separate from the interests of a city or nation, even if this man represents it. Like a child's thoughts, view of Ile de la Cité, Paris, seems unsophisticated at first glance, but there is a lot of intellect amidst the imagination.